everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my bright, sunny garden. Oh, it feels so good to be outside. We have had rain quite a bit for the last week, which is great. We need it. It's always a good thing, but it always feels so good to have the sun and to be able to get outside. Monty has been laying in the sun all morning. It's been so nice. And I am going to be getting some planting done today. So here's what I'm planting today. I have 6 topiaries, relatively large, not too big. 6 of them that I am planting in my secret garden over on the north side of my house. I picked these up at the garden center I went to the other day. It was a lovely and very successful, might I add, shopping day, finding a lot of really wonderful things. And what I was looking for is I was looking for some evergreen interest, some topiaries that I could give some winter interest to the shade garden. I'll show you that in a second. So what I ended up getting was these 2 holly, what are they called? Emerald colonnade. I don't know if I'm saying that wrong. They are just beautiful. They are so tall and they're so tight. They say that they're really good for shearing. They take really well to shearing as opposed to a privet, which I really like the way the glossy foliage on a privet looks. But the problem with a privet is you can't shear it. If you cut the leaves on a Texas privet right here, a Texas privet topiary, it will brown out and it'll look bad. So you actually have to come in here and you have to snip it, which is why sometimes this looks a little out of sorts, just because it takes a lot of time to come in and snip it. But apparently with the holly, you can just go in and you can shear it with some shears or something like that, which is great. Really excited to try those. Then I, of course, have 4 emerald arborvitae. And you can see over here in front of the metal workshop, I put 3 in these pots right here. And I love them. Oh my goodness, I love them so much. This makes me so happy to see this. This was such an easy planting, and it just brings such a pop to this area of our garden. I kind of feel like this area, of course, don't look at our asphalt. We are going to be resurfacing that, but after we finish all of the big projects, if you just look at this it's starting to look really good. And these 3 thujas right here really made an absolute huge difference, as is putting the wood chips around the Vigo bed. I love that. So anyway, I am going to be putting 4 of the emerald arborvitae in my secret garden, just kind of in each corner, just to kind of anchor the garden and make it really feel like it's its own separate room. Let me show you. So here's the secret garden over on the north side of our house, and you can see this time of year, winter, it gets 0 sun, absolutely no sun, which is why I dubbed this the secret shade garden. However, turns out that in the summertime, the sun gets high enough over the house that it becomes a secret sun garden. Look at that. Starting to get blooms there. Wow, it is like almost spring, you guys. Really exciting. Anyway, so for the secret garden, my plan was to enclose this area. I've told you guys this a million times. Enclose this area with these arches and having the evergreen clematis or clematis armandii growing on it that is almost blooming. It is so close to blooming. And so that would make this whole area its own separate room, which means that I can, plant up, or I want to say decorate, but that's not the right word, design. I can design this part of my garden different than other parts of my garden. Other parts of my garden are a lot more casual, a lot more loose, less manicured. But because this is its own space, I can make it or design it to be a lot more formal. And one of you made a really good point in the comments section that you were doing something like this on your side yard as well, because it still gives you that formal look in part of your garden, but it's not too much that you have to maintain the formality in your entire property, which I thought was a really great point. So this whole space is going to be a little bit more formal than the rest of my garden. With the topiaries, so basically in all 4 corners, because I have the walls, all 4 corners, I'm going to have the thuja, and then on either side of this lion fountain right here is where I am going to have the holly topiaries, which I think will be so pretty. I feel bad because that is the third option that I have tried on either side of this fountain. First, I tried hostas, it was too sunny in this spot and they burned. So I had to take them out and I replaced them with these Niagara Fall grasses, which I think will be really pretty. But as you can see, there's absolutely no winter interest from them. So I think having the topiaries is a good answer. Now this fountain is a pain in the butt, but that's okay. So I ended up getting this fountain for a steal. I got it for $300. It was already at a cheap place, and then he was going out of business. My friend Robbie helped grab it for me. He actually has the same fountain. And it works. I know a couple of you had the idea of planting it up with succulents because you thought it didn't work. It actually does work. We just never, it just doesn't work quite right yet, because if you can see back here, can you see how the fountain is kind of going that way? It makes it so that when the fountain gets going, everything starts kind of spilling out the back, and then it just makes the whole problem worse and worse and worse, which is so frustrating because we actually put good footing under there. We put a couple inches of gravel, packed it down, and then put pavers. It should have been enough, but it's just so heavy. So we have to shore it up a little bit stronger so it doesn't lean back, and then I'll be able to run that fountain more often. Like we even have it like hooked up to power and to drip and everything like that. So I should be able to use it. And I do want to use it because I love having the sound of water over here. And this fountain is actually pretty loud, which is perfect because it's quiet right now, but we don't live in the quietest spot. We live kind of on a busy street. There's an airport close by. And then, of course, we have the goats over on the other side of the fence. So it's nice to have the sound of water here. So I definitely want to keep it working. Then when we come to the fence, you can see the fence is just absolutely ugly. Like I know how bad it is. We need to replace it. But we have an acre property, and to replace the entire fence is something that we have to save up for. So in the meantime, we're going to be putting basically lipstick on a pig. And we're going to be fixing the fence just to take us through a couple years until we do all the other kind of things that are kind of a little bit more pressing. And so what I want to do with this section of the fence is I actually want to cut off these dog ears right here. And then I want to take a 2x6, Michael Glassman gave me this idea, a 2x6 board, and basically secure a 2x6 board right to the top. So it's kind of like caps off the top of the fence. And I think that will look really pretty. And then we'll stain it. Now for the staining, you all can probably see this mess right here. This fence is stained bare slate, which is like a black, but it's not like an intense black. And I don't know what was wrong with me. It was holiday time. I wasn't thinking clearly. I was not in my right mind. I bought pure black stain and we touched up the fence with pure black stain. And you can definitely see where we touched up the fence. I am so frustrated at myself. Like, oh man, that was a big, big mess up on my part. So super frustrated, but I think that's like here, the grasses are going to grow. And so it's going to cover it. And over here, what I'm going to do, like we could restain it with the black, but I don't know, that'll just take so much work. Regardless, I want to grow some type of vining plant up the fence anyway. And so my thought is to grow star jasmine, which is what I have right here growing on my espalier. Star jasmine, because it's evergreen, you can see. And the evergreen clematis blooms right around this time. And then right after that, the star jasmine will start blooming. So it'll be so beautiful, nice evergreen. It'll cover the ugly fence, right? So I don't have to look at it. We'll have the scent of the evergreen clematis. And then right after that's done, we'll have the scent of the star jasmine. We'll have the topiaries. And then I can fill in with other beautiful, beautiful things. Oh, and then I do have to say, we are planning to get window boxes, and then if I can afford them, I got to look into it, but shutters on either side of the window. And that's the plan for this secret garden. We'll see how I can make it work. We'll see, we'll see. It is a work in progress, but at least for today, I can at least get those topiaries planted and in the ground. I'm sorry. I hope you're still with me after all that talking. I am going to go get all my tools, get the topiaries, and get planting. question. I need to ask you a question. So, these are going in all four corners, like that. But if you look at this one,
Ooh.
Yeah. What do we do?
Yeah, we gotta have access to that.
Like inline.
Is that thing gonna get any wider?
I mean, a little bit, but we can always trim it back.
Okay.
You know?
You want it to be, so like that one is that what how you wanted it?
That's how I wanted it. But I want them all to match.
You want it to be more centered from the corner, I guess.
I wanted it to be like more actually in the corner.
Well, in the corner of this or the corner of here?
In the corner of that. But I guess if we have to do this.
Yeah. And that's still good, right?
Middle.
Like middle-ish.
Middle-ish. Because here's the thing, this is going to be really fluffy, so we're going to be able to like push through it.
I know, but like we have somebody here to work on it. Like Steve comes, you gotta have access to it. I mean, yeah, it's probably fine.
That's okay.
I mean, we shouldn't have to have an electrician have access to the panel.
Yeah.
Like it.
Or I can do it right here.
I mean, that's totally easy. But then, like, I don't think that looks great.
No.
I don't think that's. If you did that, you would need something else here, and then that would be even more of a problem. You know?
It goes here. Right here.
We might have to keep this one trimmed smaller.
Okay,
you know?
fine.
And then, like, we just have to have access. So, and then if we just keep it smaller, I don't know.
Yeah. Alright, well, as long as you're okay with that.
I think it's not ideal because anybody's gonna be like, ugh, pain in the butt, right?
Yeah.
But like, we shouldn't have to have. We're not adding more. The only time that we would ever mess with that is if we add solar one day in the far future. I know.
I'll dig up the thuja.
That's what I'm saying. Like at that point, if it's something that we need that much access,
Yeah.
we just get a new one, or we transplant it temporarily, or something.
Yeah.
Like if we have a big project, but like we shouldn't have to have regular access to that.
Okay.
You know, like I need to get back there from the breaker occasionally, and
Yeah.
I can do that.
So you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah,
Right here. Okay.
I think so. As long as you're good with how it looks.
I mean, not what I had planned, but
Yeah,
I get it.
Cannot go back.
no, I know. I didn't even think about it.
I didn't.
Okay, so you guys probably got the gist of the problem that we're having here. So I had planned to put these thujas in like kind of more in the corners. They were tucked up into the corners to accent each corner of this little room. These thujas, these emerald thujas, get 4 to 5 feet wide and about 15 feet tall. And of course we can trim them back and all that kind of stuff. And I had planned for them to go in the corners, like actually in the corners, right? I don't know what it's like the stain. It's just like the stain. I don't know what I was thinking. I was not thinking. The electrical box is right here, and this is the type of door we have on our electrical box. I don't know if they have other doors or anything like that, but there's just no way that I can plant the thuja right there. Plus, we have a tap right there. I don't know. I just wasn't thinking. So talking with Jason about it, just deciding what we were going to do. We think we're just going to put them centered kind of out a little bit, which is not what I want. It gives the thujas more room to grow, which I didn't really want. I kind of wanted to like crowd them a little bit, but it does give them some more room to grow. So that's a benefit, but it just kind of changes the look. That one's hard to tell because it's just leaning because it's not on a flat part of ground, but you can kind of see that one. Everything's just kind of pulled out a little bit and centered a little bit more than I had planned. Not the end of the world, just, you know, a little bit different than I had planned. No big deal. I can totally work with it. I just got to wrap my brain around it. Okay, let's get to planting. Okay, it's actually about 30-45 minutes later after I finished planting those 4 thujas. That was kind of stressful. I didn't know if the one in the far corner over here was going to get in. I was having such a hard time. I needed a mental break for a little bit. So it ended up working out. They look really good. This one was pretty easy to plant. It was very muddy just because of the rain yesterday. Easy to plant, easy to plant. That one over there, oh my goodness. So it's right next to our manifold, our irrigation manifold, which is right here underneath this pot. And right connecting to that is a 1-inch drip pipe that I just didn't see. I just didn't see. And then as I'm digging a hole in here, there's garbage, there's landscape fabric, there's things of concrete that I was pulling out. I was so afraid I wasn't going to get this one in. Luckily, this one wasn't too rooted in. The one over there was super, super rooted in. I had to cut it out of the pot. But this one, I could actually remove some of the soil around it, so I was able to fit it in a somewhat smaller hole. Now, if this is going to be happy here, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I am reminded why I haven't planted these 3 plants in this area yet, because it's just hard to plant there. Then this one, of course, reminded me how poor and rocky my soil is over here. It's just like pure rocks with a little bit of soil in it. So it's like I planted it and I think there's no way anything's going to survive. But this Clematis armandii over here is the happiest one. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to see how it goes. So I brought over my holly poodles. I think they look so good. Let me see if I can back the camera up a little. There we go. So my plan was to actually take out these Niagara Falls panicums, which are this silvery blue color, and replace them with the topiaries. But then I was thinking, wouldn't it be pretty to have the topiaries and then have the panicum grasses in front of them and have that contrast of textures and colors? I thought that would be really pretty. I can't decide. I've spent, the 30 minutes kind of resting and recharging and calming down a little bit just because I was getting so frustrated with the thujas. But then I was thinking about this and I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to leave the grasses, plant them, and then I can always pull the grasses out at a later date if I want to. But I'm going to leave them and I'm going to see how they look, because I think that might be kind of pretty to have that difference. And then I still get the look of grasses here, which is what I wanted, but then at least I still have some beautiful winter interest with these poodles. So I think that's my plan, just to plant them right next to the grasses right now. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. All right, all done. I spent forever trying to get them very symmetrical. That's the problem with formal gardens. It's really tough to get everything symmetrical and lining up. When you have more casual gardens, it just doesn't matter. So I was just trying to make my hardest to get these at the same height, the same, distance away from the fountain and everything like that. It's hard because, like I said, the fountain's leaning a little bit back. So we gotta work on that. But I like how they look. I think they look really, really pretty. So formal. This is so not like me, but I love it. And then as they grow and I prune them, I can make them look more and more similar. I kind of really like the grasses in the front. I think that that's going to be really pretty. I'll have to see what it looks like once the grasses completely grow. But as I'm sitting here looking at this, I think that's really pretty. And then remember, there's surefire white begonia on either side. That's going to be gorgeous with the star jasmine in the background. So then over here, I have the thujas. I feel like it's kind of hard to see with the shade. But you can see I've got the 2 thujas over there and the 2 thujas over there. So now I just got to get some star jasmine, and I'm going to get some hog panels to put onto the fence as well. And I think we're making progress here. I am going to do boxwood hedges. I've decided. I've never done boxwood hedges before. That is a new to me thing, but I'm going to try it and I'm going to see how it goes. I was thinking of all these other things that I could do, like grass hedges and all this kind of stuff, but sitting here and seeing this in the winter, I need some boxwood hedges, I think. And I think I want to put a bench here. I have this little set, this little metal kind of sitting area set that I never actually sit in. I think having a bench here would be a lot prettier. So anyway, we are making progress. It's amazing what you can get done on a sunny day, right? Feels good. Feels good to be out here. So let's see. We have sun tomorrow and the next day and the day after, and then it starts raining again. So I have some more things that I bought at the garden center the other day that I'm going to get planted, I think tomorrow, but I think for today, that is it. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.